Hi everyone. Yeah, tonight it looks like it's just going to be me and I'm going to be all by myself again. But maybe, I don't know, if it seems like there's one or two, or there are one or two people who are checking out the videos after I've posted them. So, um, yeah, I'm going to be hanging out alone, but I'm still just going to chat as if there are actually people who are going to be watching this video. Uh, Even though at the moment it feels a bit like shouting into the void, mm, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So, this weekend I actually had a bit of a binge watching situation with Netflix, which was actually quite cool. But I did two foreign language series and one true crime series. I watched a German series called Same Sky, which was which is basically about a spy from East Berlin during the Cold War being sent to West Berlin as a uh, they call him a Romeo spy. So basically, what he does is he creates a situation where women fall in love with him so that he can extract information from them. The women, of course, being important intelligence agents or officers in West Germany, so for the US and the UK. But then things go wrong for him, and it's actually quite interesting. Although I felt a bit upset and a bit like I wasted 6 hours of my life because the series basically felt like they chopped it into two, so there wasn't really a clear resolution of the plot line, and so it was actually quite frustrating because I spent like 6 hours watching it, and then in the end, there's not really a solution or anything like that. So I'm kind of hoping that there is a second season coming out, but I'm not optimistic because the series is actually already 2 years old. So yeah, that kind of makes me a bit upset. So um, the other series that I watched was a Polish series called 1983, and that was actually quite interesting. I liked that. It kind of gave me, strangely enough, or maybe it's not so strange if you watch it, you'll probably get what I mean. I kind of got a V for Vendetta vibe off of it, because it's about set in a dystopian future society where, or not really even future society, it's technically set in 2003, but in a dystopian world with an alternative history where the Iron Curtain never fell around Poland. So the concept of that was interesting enough for me to get watching, but then what it really is about within that is actually this young guy who basically has his whole life laid out for him as the future something important in the party. And when I say party, the Communist Party that's running Poland in this alternate present day, or how it alternate 2002. So he has his whole future laid out for him, and then he basically gets set on this task to find out about the murder. And then the deeper he digs, the more he realizes that something isn't right. And then to the point where he actually stops believing in the communism and the way the system works in this society of his. And I actually found it really interesting. I just kind of felt a bit like, um, yeah, I liked it, and I think if there is a second season coming out, and I really hope it does, I would actually watch it because it feels, again, I don't know if it's something about the more European style of television making to not completely share all the information in one go. But in this one, there was a very definite resolution, but it did feel like they left a back door open for there to be a second season. And that's not too bad. But then also in doing that, they created a bunch of twists that I don't really feel like they actually laid the groundwork very well. So, yeah, so I'm kind of interested to see where they're going with it and whether they're going to be able to explain that way a bit. But yeah. And then the last one that I watched was The Innocent Man, which is a documentary series based on the John Grisham book. And it's yeah, I actually found it interesting. I liked the way that they structured the story. It was quite tightly paced, and it was done in a way that it does tell a story. So I can only imagine. I haven't read the book, so I can imagine that the book was quite an easy read as well for what the subject matter is about. So what it is about is this small town in the US, in the rural US, basically had two murders taking place within, I think, 2 years of each other, and then they couldn't find the people who were responsible. And then somehow magically, like within months of each other, they somehow find four people, of which basically two pairs of people who they basically held responsible for these murders. And then how they basically railroaded those guys into convictions, despite the fact that it turns out that at least of those four people, at least two are proven innocent and have been released already now, after they've been incarcerated for 12 years. And they're now in the process of working to get the other two released, because if you look at the two court cases, you actually do discover that they basically did exactly the same thing with both cases. So yeah, it does look a bit fishy. So yeah, it does seem like maybe towards this year sometime they'll probably make a determination on the other two guys. But yeah, so it was interesting and kind of sad for me to think that it is actually possible for people to just be locked up just because the people who were supposed to capture the real responsible parties just couldn't bother. Yeah, so that was actually kind of interesting. And I kind of enjoy watching stuff like this, not maybe not necessarily enjoy as much, but I find it interesting to watch things like this from a writer's point of view, because it gives me kind of another view on life that maybe one day gets sucked into my writing in some way. So I do like to watch some documentary stuff every now and then. So that was kind of interesting. Yeah, so that was basically what I've been watching. And next up, I'm not actually sure. I'm probably going to be cutting back a little bit on my time watching TV, because I do actually want to write more. And whether I like it or not, Netflix does take up time that I could have spent at least some writing on. So, but that said, I'm super excited for the next Punisher series and for Stranger Things, which is one of my favorites. So I'm hoping, but I think it's still a while yet for both those series, so I'm not really in a rush, and I don't really want to commit to anything. If I do watch another series, it's probably going to be back to a foreign language one, maybe French, because specifically the French is for me to maintain my French speaking, listening, and comprehension skills. So to keep that fresh in South Africa is a bit hard because there aren't that many people who speak the language. So I am thinking, so what I do instead of trying to find people to speak with to keep it fresh, I try to read French and I try to watch some French TV every now and then to just keep my vocab a bit front of mind. Yeah, but that's basically my plan at the moment. Yeah, so it does look like I'm really not going to have anybody keeping me company today, which is really sad. But well, okay. So I don't know what I'm going to actually be writing today because I've kind of hit a bit of a snag. So I'm thinking I might actually spend today just writing something random. Um, because while it's not technically my work in progress, it's still something that is going to give me some practice to get me back into the mode of writing productively every day. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm kind of feeling like I'm probably just going to write a bit of an update either for Blogger or for my Patreon account and see how far I get with that. But yeah, okay, so I think what I'm going to do, first things first, is I'm just going to plug in my computer because it has this very cool thing of running out of power when I least expect it. So let's just do that. Okay. And then I'm going to open myself a Word document and I'm going to open a countdown timer. Yeah, just by the way, I'm sorry that I don't have this open, in fact, because I'm trying to be better about my planning, but today was just like I've been trying to fix my Gmail because for some reason my Gmail account isn't letting me download any attachments. Not a single one of my 3 accounts that I have with Gmail are none of them are letting me download attachments. So I looked for solutions and apparently clearing your cache is something that helps. And then I tried to do that, and after an entire day that didn't work. And then in the last like hour before I was supposed to start this thing, when I was supposed to put it up and at least schedule it, because it was a rough day, it started deleting the cache all of a sudden. And then I couldn't get logged in, and then I couldn't get logged in again. And then as I'm logged in finally, it logs me back out. And then it's another struggle to get back in. So it was just like really aggravating. But that's basically so what I've been doing for about an hour before the hangout and the live stream actually started was me um, preparing to do the was me trying to get logged in so that I could actually schedule the live stream and get into the hangout. So it was just a mess. So yeah. Okay. I am ready. I'm going to activate the countdown timer and in 3, 2, 1. And time's up. I hope if you guys do a sprint with me after the fact that you did well. I did. I actually wrote 352 words, but it was about some somewhat specific subject matter, so I'm just going to give myself a pass. Even though it's a bit worse than the last one I wrote. But yeah, so that's basically me for now, and I'll see you tomorrow. I will do better about scheduling ahead of time so that it's easier for people to find the link, and then hopefully more people can start signing in as I'm doing these 20-minute writings. Okay, thank you very much for watching. If you do watch, have a nice day. See you tomorrow, maybe. Bye. I really have to work on my beat.